Welcome to an in-depth exploration of the fascinating science behind cooking, where chemistry meets physics in your kitchen. Today we'll explore the instruments and scientific principles that transform cooking from an art into a precise science. Let's begin with temperature measurement, the most fundamental parameter in cooking science. A thermometer doesn't just measure heat, it measures the average kinetic energy of molecules in your food. The average kinetic energy of molecules equals 3/2 times Boltzmann's constant times absolute temperature. A typical kitchen thermometer ranges from 0 to 100 degrees Celsius, covering all essential cooking temperatures. Different cooking applications require different thermometer types: digital probes for meat, infrared for surface temperature, oven thermometers for ambient heat, and candy thermometers for high-temperature sugar work. Converting between Celsius and Fahrenheit. Multiply Celsius by 9/5 and add 32. Here's an interesting question. Why does water boil at different temperatures depending on altitude? Water boils when its vapor pressure equals atmospheric pressure. At higher altitudes, lower atmospheric pressure means water boils at lower temperatures. Next, let's explore precision scales and why measuring mass is crucial for reproducible results. A digital kitchen scale provides precise mass measurements, essential for consistent baking and cooking results. Standard kitchen scales have 1 gram resolution, but molecular gastronomy requires 0.1 gram precision for ingredients like hydrocolloids. Mass equals density times volume, connecting our measurements to material properties. Mass measurements are superior to volume because factors like flour packing can change volume measurements by up to 30%. The same mass of flour can occupy very different volumes depending on packing, demonstrating why professional bakers always measure by weight. Now let's examine pH meters and the critical role of acidity in cooking chemistry. pH is defined as the negative logarithm of hydrogen ion concentration. The pH scale ranges from 0 to 14, with 7 as neutral. Acids are below 7, bases above 7. Common cooking ingredients span wide pH ranges. Lemon juice around pH 2, while baking soda solution reaches pH 9. Here's a crucial question. How does pH affect protein structure in cooking? Proteins have ionizable groups that change state with pH. At low pH, amino groups are protonated. At high pH, they lose protons. pH dramatically affects meat tenderness through protein denaturation, bread texture through gluten formation, and vegetable color through pigment chemistry. Let's explore how time measurements connect to the chemical kinetics of cooking reactions. The Arrhenius equation describes reaction rate constants, K equals A times E to the negative activation energy over RT. A fundamental rule of thumb: most chemical reactions double in rate for every 10 degrees Celsius temperature increase. Precise timing is essential because cooking involves time-dependent chemical transformations. The Q10 value, the ratio of reaction rates at temperatures 10 degrees apart, approximately equals 2 for most cooking reactions. Egg white protein denaturation illustrates this. It occurs at 62 Celsius over 30 minutes, or at 80 Celsius in just 2 minutes. Now let's examine pressure cookers and the thermodynamic principles they exploit. The ideal gas law: pressure times volume equals number of moles times the gas constant times temperature. A pressure cooker traps steam, increasing internal pressure to about 2 atmospheres, which raises boiling point to 120 Celsius. The Clausius-Clapeyron relation describes how vapor pressure changes with temperature. dP dt equals latent heat over temperature times volume change. At 15 psi above atmospheric pressure, water boils at 121 Celsius instead of 100 Celsius. This temperature increase reduces cooking time by roughly 3 times for tough meat cuts requiring collagen breakdown. Let's explore calorimetry and how we measure energy transfer in cooking. Heat transfer equals mass times specific heat capacity times temperature change. A simple calorimeter measures heat flow by tracking temperature changes in a known mass of water surrounding the sample. Specific heat capacities vary dramatically. Water is 4.18 kilojoules per kilogram Kelvin, while cooking oil is only 2.0. Water's high specific heat capacity, of 4,186 joules per kilogram Kelvin makes it excellent for even heat distribution. Why does oil heat faster than water on the same burner? Oil's lower specific heat capacity means it requires less energy per degree of temperature rise, so it heats faster. Now let's examine viscometers and the rheology of cooking materials. Newton's law of viscosity. Shear stress equals dynamic viscosity times velocity gradient. A simple viscometer applies shear force to measure how easily fluids flow, critical for sauces and batters. Viscosity spans huge ranges. Honey at 10,000 millipascal seconds, water at 1, olive oil at 80. Apparent viscosity equals shear stress over shear rate, defining a material's resistance to flow. Many cooking materials are non-Newtonian fluids, whose viscosity changes with shear rate, like ketchup, egg whites, and melted chocolate. Let's explore refractometers and how they measure sugar concentration through light bending. Refractive index equals speed of light in vacuum over speed in medium. Light bends when entering a denser medium, and the amount of bending depends on sugar concentration. Snell's law, N1 sine theta 1 equals N2 sine theta 2. The brick scale measures percent sugar by weight, essential for making jams, syrups, and confections with proper texture. Degrees bricks approximately equals percent sugar in solution. Jam sets properly at 65 bricks, while softball stage candy requires 85 bricks concentration. Now let's examine how spectrophotometers measure color changes that indicate chemical reactions. Beer-Lambert law. Absorbance equals molar absorptivity times concentration times path length. Light passing through a sample is partially absorbed, and measuring this absorption tells us about concentration and chemical state. The Maillard reaction produces brown pigments with characteristic absorption at 420 nanometer wavelength. Anthocyanins in red cabbage change color dramatically, red at pH 3, purple at pH 7, blue at pH 9. Let's explore texture analyzers that measure the mechanical properties determining food texture. Stress equals force over area, measuring the intensity of applied force. A texture analyzer applies controlled force while measuring deformation, quantifying properties like hardness, brittleness, and elasticity. Strain equals change in length over original length, measuring relative deformation. Young's modulus equals stress over strain, defining material stiffness. Fresh bread has a Young's modulus of 0.05 megapascals, while stale bread reaches 5 megapascals 100 times stiffer. Now let's examine thermal conductivity and how heat flows through food during cooking. Fourier's law. Heat flux equals negative thermal conductivity times temperature gradient. Heat flows from hot to cold regions, with the rate depending on thermal conductivity of the material. Copper has thermal conductivity of 400 watts per meter Kelvin, while stainless steel is only 15, explaining why copper pans heat more evenly. Thermal diffusivity equals thermal conductivity over density times specific heat, determining how fast temperature changes propagate. Why does metal feel colder than wood when both are at room temperature? Metal has much higher thermal conductivity, so it removes heat from your skin faster, making it feel colder. Let's explore gas chromatography and how it analyzes the volatile compounds creating food flavors. Gas chromatography separates volatile compounds based on their interaction with a stationary phase, allowing identification of flavor molecules. Compounds separate based on boiling point and polarity, with each flavor molecule producing a characteristic peak. Retention time equals column length over velocity times 1 plus the retention factor. Coffee aroma contains over 1,000 distinct volatile compounds, while chocolate has around 600, creating complex flavor profiles. Now let's examine differential scanning calorimetry, revealing phase transitions in food. Enthalpy change equals the integral of heat capacity with respect to temperature. DSC measures heat flow during heating, revealing phase transitions like starch gelatinization and protein denaturation as distinct peaks. Starch gelatinization typically occurs between 60 and 70 Celsius, while protein denaturation temperatures vary by protein type. Total heat required equals the integral of heat capacity from initial to final temperature. Let's explore water activity and its crucial role in food safety and preservation. Water activity equals vapor pressure of food over vapor pressure of pure water. Water activity ranges from 0 to 1, with bacteria requiring above 0.9, while dried foods target below 0.6. Below water activity 0.6, microbial growth is impossible, while above 0.85 enables bacterial growth. For solutions, water activity equals moles of water over total moles of water plus solute. Adding salt or sugar lowers water activity by binding water molecules, which is why they preserve food. Now let's see how these instruments work together in real cooking scenarios. All these measurements interact. Temperature affects reaction kinetics. pH influences protein structure. Mass ensures reproducibility, and time determines reaction completion. Making perfect bread requires controlling temperature for yeast activity and gluten development, pH for dough texture, mass ratios for structure, and time for fermentation. Food quality is a complex function of temperature, pH, mass, time, pressure, water activity, and many other variables. Sous vide cooking at 55 Celsius for 24 hours demonstrates precise temperature-time control, transforming tough collagen into tender gelatin. Collagen breakdown follows Arrhenius kinetics, with activation energy, around 55 kilojoules per mole. Let's explore some advanced applications, combining multiple measurement techniques. Molecular gastronomy techniques like spherification require precise measurement of calcium and alginate ratios, typically 0.5 to 2% alginate with 0.5% calcium. Spherification involves ion exchange, where sodium alginate reacts with calcium ions to form a gel membrane. Tempering chocolate requires cycling through specific temperatures to produce the desirable crystal form 5, which gives chocolate its snap and shine. The chocolate tempering curve shows heating to 45 Celsius, cooling to 27, then reheating to 31 Celsius. Emulsion stability in mayonnaise or hollandaise requires measuring droplet size distribution and zeta potential to predict stability. Zeta potential equals viscosity times velocity over permittivity, indicating electrical charge on droplet surfaces. How do we integrate all these measurements in practical cooking? Modern kitchens increasingly feature precision immersion circulators, accurate scales, and pH meters as standard equipment. Kitchens now integrate various tools and techniques for precision cooking, allowing for more consistent and innovative dishes. This integration of precision tools and techniques allows chefs to explore new textures and flavors, pushing the boundaries of culinary creativity. In conclusion, the science of culinary reactions is a fascinating field that combines chemistry, physics, and biology to create delicious and innovative dishes. By understanding the underlying principles of cooking, chefs and home cooks can create new and exciting flavors and textures, taking their culinary skills to the next level.